Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. You are now tuned into your favorite podcast, Feature. And I'm your host with the most, Chris Chucky, coming live and direct in full effect with my co-host,
Miguel. Peace and love, y'all.
And today's very special guest is Cooly T.
What up, everybody? What up, y'all? Appreciate you guys having me. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you for coming on, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody's son's value.
Cooly T today is promoting his new single,
Cool in the gang, baby.
Cool in the Game. Let's get straight to it.
Let's do it.
Look, just touched down, man, from flying overseas. If you know me, then I get the cheese. Hanging out with Chris and I'm chilling while he cooking up a beat. Told me, man, don't listen, let it breathe. Look, Cooly, he be rapping till he locked jaw. Me, I am a birdie, I am not Paul. Me, I be no gangster, me, I'm not hard. But I fuck your baby mama, boy, do not start. Pop tart, jewels on, flicking like a cop car. Make a couple milli, that is not hard. How a nigga push a 40 but a pop star.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I went straight in.
Yeah.
Hey, if y'all want to hear the rest of that, Jack, y'all got to go download that ASAP.
Yes, sir.
Man, where can they find that at, Cooly?
That's on Spotify under Cooly, COOLY-T.
Man.
Yep. I got a few projects out, Spotify, Apple Music. I got 3 projects out. The first one was dropped like 2020. That was an EP, about 6 tracks.
What's the name of that joint?
It's called Hello, My Name is Cooly T. Official introduction EP.
Okay.
Right. And then the second one, I did this for, there's this guy I know, he does e-commerce.
Okay.
And a very wealthy guy, more of an associate than a friend, basically. And got in contact with him through my engineer, basically, one of my best friends. And he's a friend of him. He would come to the studio, and this guy's got Bentleys, Rolls Royces, doing e-com. He's got his hands in everything. So they call him Panda. So I did an album. I always wanted to like write music through the lens of somebody else, not through mine. No. So I wrote an entire EP called the Panda EP, which is on Spotify. That is through the lens of him.
Okay.
Nice.
You see what I mean? So he's getting engaged. I wrote a song called Me More with his sister singing on it, and surprised him and his fiance. I got a contact. I found out now I barely know this guy. I got a contact and found out where they met, all the personal, who introduced them and everything, what she did. And I put all of that in the music and surprised him with an album. And in return for that, he let us shoot a video that I haven't released yet called ABC, Always Be Closing. That song was for him. That's on Spotify as well. But he let us use like 8 of his Ferraris and all that. And we got a video coming out maybe in about 2 months for that. So thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it, man.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Hey, that's real value, too.
Yeah, that's how you really return value.
You totally
Right.
got a lot of value.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
What inspired you to do that?
What inspired me was he does a he. I don't want to speak for him too much, but he's got a lot of connections. And you know those conferences where they have these big guys come up and you know what I mean? He was a guest at one of those conferences. And I don't know the guys' names, but it was some guys that I've seen like on the Joe Rogan podcast and all that. These are like well-named like financial e-commerce guys. So it was called Plugged In. So I said, you know what? Let me well, at that time what I was trying to do for my music was I would go to local dispensaries or any type of businesses, and I would say, hey, what are you guys trying to push? And then I would create a song for them.
Okay.
So I was just trying to just network myself and, like you said, show some type of value instead of just saying, hey, can you give me a favor?
Yeah.
So I kind of like that because it's just the creativity was just like, you're not even looking out of your lens anymore. It's like portraying an actor. You got to study that person. It just adds a whole nother lens to storytelling.
And you're meeting people.
Yeah.
Right.
Meet people.
Right. So he had the Plugged In event, and I did this song called Plugged In, where I talked about how he used to ride a scooter to work. Now he has all these cars, the whole process. And he actually played that song as his intro when he came out to do the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's his theme music, man.
Yeah, that's his thing.
You
Music.
got
I was
his
thinking the
theme
same thing. I was like, bro, you make people feel like superheroes. They're like,
Right.
You feeling like a WWF wrestler coming out. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
Well, you got a soundtrack to your life now.
yeah.
Exactly.
You know.
And how valuable is that? Like,
Right.
you ain't have to ask for it.
You can't buy that with money.
No, you
You know?
can't.
Yeah.
And you couldn't make it himself, even though
Yeah.
you do all these other things.
Right.
No, for sure.
Hey, man, I got it. Yeah, man.
Nah, but I got
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Picturing spaces is supplying people with what they want, not with just anything that you want to give them. Like how you said,
Yes.
it changes like the value of what you're coming with and the whole state of the game.
Yes.
Feel me? Because you're not, like you said earlier, you're not asking for no favors. You saying this is what I can offer, and how would you like me to use my skills for you?
Yes.
And you're not, a lot of times as an artist, people will treat you like you trying to push your music on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a whole different
Yeah.
method to where you like, nah, I'll write you a song for your dispensary.
Yeah.
Like, what jingle y'all want?
I'm gonna push you.
Like,
to
that's
do it.
that's a whole nother level, bro.
One thing I learned to do was, like you said, people feel like you're pushing, and everybody want to be a rapper now. And there's nothing wrong with that. But
yeah.
most of the time when you tell people, the most common thing, and I get it, when I tell people, hey, listen to my music, there's always like, okay, and then
Another one.
then they hear it, and then they're like, hey, my bad, I was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You can't be mad at
I
them.
can't be mad at them.
The pool is very filled.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of bully rappers out here, so a lot of people be like, man, if you was that good, nigga, I would have heard you spin on the radio.
Yeah.
But it's really not like that. A lot of niggas is flooding the radio with money, so it's like the shit they get played, it's not authentically. Like,
No,
people love
it's
it.
been paid to
Yeah,
play.
it's been paid to play.
It's been paid to play. So, no, that's real. Back in the day, you could say that. You could say, I haven't heard of you because maybe you're not that good.
Yeah, no, for
But
sure. But
now
that's not the case
that's not the
nowadays
case
because
anymore.
everything get paid for, even with like streams and shit and marketing on posts and shit like Instagram or TikTok.
Yep.
Like, you probably haven't heard of it because he ain't invested into his marketing yet. Like,
Yep.
Nah,
you know, like, but it don't mean the music is bad or
You
any
got
of
the
that.
dopest rapper in the world. He just worked at Mickey D's, and he don't got 10 grand to invest in marketing.
Exactly.
Or he might not even know how to do it.
Yeah, might not even know where to
he's
start
only
from.
good at that craft.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And unless he gets discovered,
Yeah.
where's he going? You know what I'm saying? Not hats off, man. I mean, that's incredible marketing, bro.
Now I gotta ask you, bro, like what goes into like the splits? Do you still like keep royalties to this music that you create for these people, like in these companies?
I try to find value in, like, the fight for the dispensary was, hey, I'll give you this song, because I had been going there. It was right up the street. I was going to them for a couple of years. They closed down now. But when I went, I talked to the owner, and he grew and owned a lot of the strands that were in there, from my perspective. So we talked a lot, and I said, hey man, if I do this and shoot a video here, and we market this, and this ends up boosting your percentage in your sales, you see something coming from this, is there any type of percentage that I can get from that, rather than you just paying me one time for the song?
Correct.
So maybe that could have been a wrong way, but I'm figuring out as I go.
No.
I'm just I'm throwing whatever against the ball, see what works. And so we agreed to a lot, and he was like, yeah. And it got to the point where he said, I have our own strain and call it the Cooly strain or Cool strain or something like that.
Yeah, I like that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like
Right.
that.
I was
That's-
like, I can do that right
I
there.
like that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's solidified. Like, because now you in the shop beyond just the music.
And make it indica too, because it's cool. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Relax all your muscles.
Right.
That body high.
Yeah, nah. Well, plus, too, it expands your music now into that industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then your name is on the actual bud. Oh, my God.
Right. I have a DJ. I said, hey, it's off Long Beach on 4th Street. And they always have like people that like, it's like once a month. It's like a party on 4th Street. It's a lot of bars and stuff. And they have like bands that pull up in trucks and perform out. And I said, hey man, we can, on one of those days this month, man, how about you have some promotions? Because you have people come on your parking lot and sell their goods, their paintings, their glass pipes or whatever. How about you bring a DJ out here and I just give a performance? I'll do the song 100 times that night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And start bringing people in and have music, and we could start doing that. And then it brought me over to a place called Fantastic Eats. Shout out to the owner. Shout out, what's up, man? He owns a lot of businesses in Long Beach, and he owns a business that's right down the street from me, a burger place. And it's just showing value. I'm in there one day, I'm talking to one of the workers. The owner's in there. He hears me talking about Kobe. He's a Kobe fan. So he starts talking to me, find out he's the owner. And so now I'm supposed to be doing a track for him and his businesses. That's kind of fell off a little bit, but I'm still going to get to it. But I just found a difference when I was approaching people. Hey, can you? Hey, can you? Hey, can you? Instead of saying here.
Yeah. Well, you're giving first.
Yeah,
Right.
no, for sure.
And that's part of the law of, I think it's reciprocity.
Yeah. And you give them exclusivity.
Yeah.
Because it's like, versus like you making a song like this is for everybody. You making a song, this is just for y'all business. This is for you.
totally.
This represents
And the
you.
song means so much. It's like, bro, you
No,
went
it
home and you
does.
thought about all these things about me, and you did this and went to the studio and just to give it, yeah, man, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's more intimate than like, you know how
Right.
people draw a picture of you and your woman on at the Santa Monica Pier or some shit.
Oh, yeah,
or,
character.
You know, yeah, character, something like that, or it could be like a portrait.
That's gonna sound like a
Like
portrait. Yeah.
either one. Like I feel like that's intimate, But a song is like very interesting because it's like you going like you doing deep dive research on this person's life.
Because you can take it in your car, you can take it on your phone.
Right.
You can send it via email. Hey man, check out what just happened.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. If I buy you anything, you just go. If I get you something to eat or get you a gift card or something, eventually that's gonna go out. You could 20 years later, you can still.
Well, the portrait's gonna go on your wall,
That's true.
or you might roll it up and leave it in the tube.
Right.
You
And
get
it's
what I'm saying?
like
But
that's
the song can travel faster.
and it's a classic for the brother that you made the song for. Like you forever like on his heart and mind.
Yep.
So anytime you think of like certain business ventures, you're like, let me call it Cooly T. You
Yep.
feel me?
Yeah.
Because I just noticed that the world was, because remember, hip hop was kind of taboo outside of our culture and our community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it's so mainstream. You listen to Fox or CNN News, their commercial breaks, they playing rap to the commercial breaks.
Yeah,
So
they used to
it-
never do that shit.
Right. So
They
it's
used to
just
never
like,
do that.
I just think marketing in that lane is such a, it's like a, it's kind of untouched a little bit. Is there a guy out there really writing rhymes or even poetry or anything like that for any of these companies and businesses that's trying to reach younger audiences?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's valid.
And not enough.
That's valid. Because a lot of times when other people write hip hop, and you're like, who wrote that shit?
Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you really need somebody from the neighborhood who's a lyricist who can actually capture that company, but through the culture.
Yes.
Because like if you look at a Disney movie, unless they went and really got someone who can do this, you know that we didn't write that.
Yep.
You listen to the movie like, oh, this is terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, why did they think this was good?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The beat's decent,
Yep.
but you know, nah, hats off, man. That's what I call out of the box marketing, man.
Nah, for real, for
You
real.
know what I'm saying? And then Tony Robbins always talks about giving back. I don't know if you listen to Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins is the man.
Yeah,
Yes.
Tony Robbins always talks about giving value. So does Les Brown. And it's hard sometimes to understand what they're saying when they say give value.
Yeah.
Because they might not necessarily give you a full example.
Yeah.
But in this case, you literally giving value where the person is no longer the potential client or customer. They now a friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes people don't forget how you make them feel. Music is a universal language.
Now,
Nah, that's real.
That's real. So what's your project you're doing now?
Right now, well, I want to shout out to my boy Xavier right now in the family reunion. I have a show tonight at Soundbite Studios right now, and it starts tonight at 9 p.m. It's in LA, well, South Central. It's a very well-known studio. Lately, man, I have been, there's something I want to dive into that I've been given a lot. It's just been like, you guys ever had something in the back of your mind or in your heart? It's like, you got to do this. It's always like that subconscious voice. I want to. What was the play? Hamlet, that guy from Puerto Rican guy that wrote the that huge play. You remember that was kind of like a hip hop type play.
Oh,
You
I
know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're
And
talking
it was
about.
like he's one of the greatest play. He's
I
up
know
there.
what you're talking about. I just don't remember the name of the movie.
He redid Romeo and Juliet.
There you go. Okay, Romeo and
Yeah,
Juliet.
he redid
Yes.
Romeo and Juliet, but
Yes.
he did it with like current people.
Right.
He did it with current people, and it was more like gangbangers and,
Yes.
and guns and stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed that.
Right.
That was good. That was a good.
He
play.
put our culture's term in there,
Yeah,
which
he
resonated.
modernized.
He modernized it. So I know that my writing extends beyond, because what Ice Cube said, he said that the guy that directed Boys in the Hood,
Understood.
Spielberg?
you know,
No.
You know what I'm talking about, the brother.
Singleton.
Singleton. I know something with an S.
He said Singleton told him, if you can write a song, you can write a movie.
That's real.
Yeah.
He told him that.
That's
See,
facts.
a lot of people don't notice that Ice Cube directed Color Me Bad, I Want to Sex You Up. Ice Cube directed that video.
Oh
shit.
Yes, he directed
Damn.
that video.
Wow.
And this was
I would have never thought you directed that music.
exactly.
video. That's
Everybody
tight.
got on him about it because this was in Cube's prime. He was the
Yeah,
most
yeah,
gangster nigga ever at that time. And you doing a Color Me Bad, but then he had that vision though. And he needed that work. So what I want to do is I want to write some type of play, but I want it between like an 8 Mile and like towards real lyricism, and something between like a Tyler Perry and 8 Mile combined to where it touches on family, it's heartfelt, but then it has this just raw element of hip hop. And I wanted to have it to
Where it don't sound like a sing-along jingle
Yes.
type shit, like how Disney be giving.
Yeah.
Right.
I know
So
what
you
mean.
want something like
Yeah, that would be hard.
like the Blues Brothers.
Yes, but I want to have a twist on it to where at some points in the play, everything rhymes. Imagine this entire conversation we're having right now, but it's a rhyme scheme mixed into a conversation.
I get you. I get you.
Yeah,
I
like
get
maybe
you.
some of the words rhyme every now and then.
Right, so we're having a conversation like this, and you be like, I don't do that. I play Madden, and sometimes I blitz, and then you come, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, but
yeah,
have it
absolutely.
leveled out to where it sounds so smooth. I haven't figured out my thing right now, so I'm trying to figure out how to break that down, get to the nuts and bolts, and
Yeah.
have that.
Could I make it regular?
Nah, that's a dope
Absolutely.
puzzle.
Put it all down regular first, and then on your second edit, go back through.
That's
You
a
see-
great
you
idea.
get what I'm saying?
That's a great idea.
So you go through, put it
That way
down
you have
regular,
the subject matter.
because that way you got the
Yes.
subject matter.
Yeah.
You know, would you be interested in an animation, or does it have to be live people?
It could be anything. Animation could work too. I'm thinking about getting into children's books for kids. I'm just noticing that writing does not stop at rap.
No, I don't.
Nah.
You know what I
It
mean?
don't.
Children's books for kids. I mean,
Yeah.
Dr. Seuss had some of the coldest bars ever. I don't care what you say. Dr. Seuss was spitting when I was a kid. Green eggs and ham.
Green eggs and ham.
Yeah.
For real. Everybody knows green eggs and ham. For real. Green
No,
eggs and ham is
God.
solid.
No, that was my favorite Dr. Seuss right there.
And a play is something that you gotta. I've never even touched that because when I rap, I just go to the studio. But when you have a play, you gotta have somebody that's casting the right people and doing this, and then I just gotta. I will figure it out, but that is the next big endeavor.
No, people with the wardrobe. You gotta
Yes.
have people that
Well, I mean, being honest with you, you there because you're speaking the idea on Team Universe today.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying, and it's
heard
moved me already because I'm when we don't do this, I do animation, and animation is one of those things where you always create your soundtrack first,
Yes.
then you animate to the soundtrack, and then you add in your effects like booms and things of that later on. That's why when you said you want to do it, I was like, oh, just put your first edit down.
That makes perfect
You
sense.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Put your first edit down. And then after you put that first edit down,
Mm.
then you go behind and then you can stick the rhymes wherever you want it so that you got the right rhythm. And that way it's not too much rhyming.
It'll be fish on a barrel at that point. 'Cause yeah.
Because you'll just be following the template you already created.
That is a fantastic idea. I appreciate that. Yeah.
No, we appreciate you, bro. You sharing some gems today, bro.
Nah, definitely.
You might be changing the scope of what we've been seeing. I hate musicals. I keep it real with you.
Hell yeah.
The sound of music and all of that.
Right.
My sister let that shot.
But if you were to make something modern like the Blues Brothers, like, because when you watch the Blues Brothers, it doesn't feel like a musical.
The
It's like-
dudes loved it. That was cool, bro.
They
That was
just placed the
cool,
music in the
motherfuckers.
right place, and it wasn't too much dancing, and it didn't feel like the fakery. Sometimes, like when you
Right.
watch Disney, it feel like
Yeah.
like they be too dramatic. Like just
Yeah.
keep it simple. Like
Remember when they tried to do that on BET some years ago with the Mackay Pfeiffer thing? They tried to do like the
Yeah,
hip hop.
I ain't like
It just
that
didn't
shit.
feel thorough at all. It was done wrong. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
it was
So no, that's why we use the Blues Brothers because we were looking at it one Friday a few months back.
On
I said-
mushrooms.
Oh, yeah, we was like, we was like, this is a musical, but it don't feel like a musical.
yeah.
I always hated musicals as a kid.
And that's how you really can see if something like whether like it's music, you hear music on mushrooms, or watch like a TV show or a movie on mushrooms, you'll really see whether it's really good or not.
Okay, let's get on mushrooms, guys, because I had a first chocolate bar last week.
Ooh.
The first time I really had mushrooms was the first time I came here and I microdosed.
Okay.
I had a,
Yeah.
I felt a little warm and fuzzy
Yeah,
inside.
yeah. That's a micro.
We were supposed to film that day, but we just ended up having a dope ass
Yeah,
conversation
yeah.
on mushrooms.
We got into quantum physics, split theory.
Yeah. Street theory. We was talking about quantum dynamics and
Yeah,
thermodynamics.
simulation theory, everything.
Now that's our Friday night normally.
Yeah.
We decompress from all everything that's going on out here.
Nah,
You know,
for sure.
So I'm going to be honest about
Did you
something.
eat the whole chocolate bar?
Yeah, I had okay, so my buddy, the one that's running the show tonight, he came to my house, we chilling, and he brought out the chocolate bar. So he was like, hey, each square, he was like, man, take you like 4.
Yeah.
So I took him, and I felt kind of like I felt good. And then he left, and he left me the rest of the bars. Kids was gone. Fuck it, just gonna take this whole fucking bar.
you did the right thing, bro.
I did.
You did.
I put on, he texted me and he said, put on 832 hertz and close your eyes. And to be honest with you, I haven't spoken to my mom in about a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, it was crazy because he said just when I put it on and lay down, the only thing that came to me was you need to call your mom.
That's deep.
Now,
That's deep.
and it was like, you need to call your mom, and that has stuck with me. You know
Did
what I
you
mean?
call
I have not yet.
Okay.
I have not yet.
Can I ask why you haven't talked to her?
To be honest, I think because of my wife passing away and a lot of things that have happened, it's I'm never gonna speak negatively about my mother. I love her to death, but I got a lot of work on myself. If I'm being honest with you, I got to be accountable.
No, that's 100 right.
I still got a little hate in my heart. I'll own it. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest about it, bro.
No. Hey, that's the shrooms. The shrooms help you on all that shit.
Yes, yeah, it did, man. It was. I felt great, and it put a lot of things in perspective that I've been thinking on. But it's something that I am gonna do, 100%.
No, like I said,
that's something the mushrooms always do. They gonna bring whatever you like, kind of swept underneath the rug in your mind, and then like it's gonna lift the veil on it and be like, hey, you still got to deal with that, or deep down in your heart, you really want to call your mama like that's your mom. You come from her. That's your source.
It's my ego. I found out it started pulling my ego back and telling me it was just me. Because at the end of the day, when I think about it, like my mama ain't did nothing wrong to me, man. It's me tripping.
Yeah,
and sometimes it be that way, and the ego won't allow you to say that. Yeah, I'm the one that's tripping.
I'll go further. Even if she had done something, none of it's real.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a moment.
It's a moment, but the ego wants to protect you, so the ego keeps turning a moment into everything. Yeah, so it turns into a lifetime sentence.
Yep.
So whatever pain we feel and experience, keep it real with you, man. Pain is one of the best things for you. Because it's the only thing that can wake your game up.
Yeah, pain has been the only thing that is really, and a little bit of anger has truly motivated me.
Yeah. I like how you said a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
just a healthy amount of anger. Oh, you said I couldn't do this? I got you, motherfucker. Like that type of shit.
I get you constructive anger. Because you have anger for a reason. Yeah. It's just that most people blow it into rage.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
They don't turn the meter like you said.
Anger is the little button in Fast and the Furious when they hit the nitrox. Boost.
I said 10-second anger, not a 10-minute anger.
Yeah.
Now you
just to feel that passion.
Nah, you got it. Thanks for sharing that too.
Oh yeah, I actually get my artistic side from my mom. She still has her own studio where she does stuff and paints and everything. But my mom was an awesome painter. But I never really got into music. I'll tell you how I got into music. I was got out the military. I was in the Army for 10 years, and I joined after 9/11, and I didn't like that shit. So I joined, did the Iraq tour. Came back home, got out the Army in 2012. Got home, got married. Rest in peace to my wife, Stacy. I still think about you every day, and I love you. She's the mother of my kids. I've known her since we were 6 years old. We grew up together, went to church together.
Oh, y'all was friends then.
Oh, yeah, I know her parents and everything. Oh, yeah, it's deep. It's deep. So we went to the same high school, everything. So I got out, linked up, got married. She was pregnant within 2 months of this meeting. Got married, because men, we know. I can go on a date with a woman twice and I already know if we know off the top if you're wifey, we know. So she got sick after she gave birth to my son, and we didn't know what it was. So I'm working at Edison at the time. I'm making great money. We got to live in Chino. The apartment building we had a nail salon and a masseuse in that motherfucker. Okay, we was okay. Yeah. And that really felt good, you know what I mean, as a man to come home and I got everything under control, And she got sick, missing a lot of work. She started losing weight. We didn't know. This is a year of this, going to the doctors, urinary tract infections, it's that, all types of medications. So about a year into it, it's cool if I get into it, right? Now this is something I've really never talked about ever publicly. So she got sick, and so one day I'm driving and she's with me in the car, and we got some El Pollo Loco, and it comes with the plastic silverware and whatnot. Yeah. So I'm driving, and she keeps telling me that we need to get silverware, and I'm just in my mind like, what are you? I think that's right. She's talking about, but I'm thinking she wanted like the metal,
like real
silverware. So I'm low key kind of like bothered, like, okay, I'll go home, but geez, like, really right, like, okay, like, let's go. So then her face started swelling up, and then we stayed home. And I remember about 2:00 in the morning, I woke up, and she was naked, basically on the side of the toilet, like just out of it talking weird, just something was wrong. So I'm like, oh no. Luckily, her parents, my in-laws, had lived 3 apartments down. I could throw a rock and hit their apartment.
Yeah.
So I had to go to work the next day. So I called her parents and was like, hey, I need you to take her to the emergency room. I have to go to work and, the kids and everything like that, and let me know. So then I get a phone call and tell me that she's in a coma. And this was just out the blue. So I went and she's in a coma. And she was in a coma for about a week. And that was really rough. Like, I couldn't even, people thought I was being a bad husband, but they don't understand. Like, I could not be in that room. Because the one time I went in the room, you can hear people talk to you when you're in a coma. Because she had a tube down her throat. And when I went in there and started speaking to her, she started biting on the tube. Like, trying to fight, like she could hear me.
Yeah.
So I couldn't be there. She came out of her coma, and then she started we still didn't know what the fuck was going on, so she started spotting on her feet and her arms, like black spots. But we were just so happy that she was alive.
Yeah, she's out the coma.
She's out the coma, like, oh my gosh. So we're asking what's going on. They don't know. So she's at this point, she's 100 pounds. It's bad. Her hair is falling out. It's bad. She's a shell of herself at this point. So we take her home, and, the church, everybody's praying for her and everything like that. And, cool. And, she ended up getting what's called necrotic limbs, which means her arms and her legs were eventually going to fall off.
They're turning black.
They're turning black. You know what that is? The cells die.
Yeah, the cells die.
Unless we have some miracle to bring cells back to life, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
So around here and here in her legs, it just started rotting off black to the point to where you could almost see her bone. And she had to have, it was bad, guys. It was really bad. Everything. Had to go wheelchair, had to wipe her clean, brush her teeth, everything. So this is a hard, so she ended up, we ended up coming to the decision we had to get her arms and her legs amputated. Now, that's a tough life. I got a son that's 8 months old. I have a daughter that's pushing 2, and you're telling me, you know what I mean? Like, this is going to be a lot, especially for her. But to give Stacey props, man, she just said she was Princess Tiana at Disneyland. And she said that she was a dancer. She said she was going to be the first person with no arms and legs that dances. So she still had a fighter's mentality at that point. Still at that point. She was staying positive and everything. So she passed on the day of our 3-year anniversary. So our 3-year anniversary, she had her legs amputated 3 days before that. And the arms were next. So I don't know if you guys ever been around somebody who's got their legs amputated. It is a very, very, very painful, gruesome process. Mm-hmm. They amputated her below the knees, but they had to have her heal with them straight.
For blood flow.
For blood flow, and you're going to put a prosthetic limb on. You can't have it heal to where your tendons heal halfway bent.
You're not talking. So they won't stretch again.
Or they won't stretch again. Then I have to cut you again above the knee.
Okay.
That way it's straight.
Yeah.
So when it cuts, it naturally sits there. So to see my wife without legs was, bro. So they have to put these straps on that they tighten. That forces it to stay straight. And that is extremely painful. You just got your legs cut off, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more pain.
She's crying. She's and I'm just like, if we don't do this, we're gonna have to cut again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my gosh. So it was the day of our anniversary. I was laying in the bed next to her. I'll never forget this. I said I want to go downstairs and get some chili cheese Fritos. And I went downstairs and I forgot my wallet. I went back upstairs. I was gone maybe 10 minutes, and there was 20 nurses in the room, and they were doing CPR on her chest. So I walk in like, what the fuck is going on? So the doctor pulls me outside, and we got to talk.
Yeah.
So he pulls me out, and he goes, hey, man, she's gone. She's gone. Like, her heart failed. We're trying to resuscitate her, but you have a decision to make. We could either keep going now, or we could stop and get the electric, the paddles. But he said it was my decision. Legally, they could not make a decision for me. Because if one doesn't work, I can literally say, you suggested this is the hospital.
No, totally.
So I understand. He was like, I can't decide for you. I didn't want them to have to stop and then go get the paddles. I said, just keep doing what you're doing. So I walked in there, and I'm literally standing over her, and she passed. And I remember they said time of death is 17:21 military time. It was just 5:21 p.m. on the day of my 3-year anniversary. And I had to call everybody and tell them, no, she passed. I was working at Edison making $150,000 a year. I lost my job. I lost everything. I was homeless. And I never wrote a rap in my life, but I would always freestyle around her. And it just made me think. She was 28 years old. And I just said, what the fuck am I doing, man? And I swear to you, I went to sleep. She came to me, I don't know if it was a dream or a vision, and she told me to do this. And I just woke up, and I've been the last 7 years, that's what I've been doing. And that's what got me into it. Just, I don't know, man, just.
Divine inspiration.
Yeah.
And we definitely believe in that on this show. The divine
Yeah, that's
inspiration.
deep. Because I remember earlier you said you was never really interested in rap.
Never, I just liked it. It was just right. You know, you get loaded with the homies in the car, you freestyling and shit. You know what I mean?
I know, man. Your wife came to you and was like, man, this is going to be your outlet.
Yo, it saved my life.
Hey, man, and I got to give,
Thank you.
Feel me?
That's a lot to endure.
Pound for your testimony, man, because that was a lot of tests you went through.
Yeah, a lot of tests. That's real testimony.
Yeah, that's real testimony, man.
Real testimony.
Yeah, man. The only thing I have is perspective because I'll hear a story on the news and it's bittersweet because you don't want to feel better of the tragedy of somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, but I hear about this father at a wedding and his wife and 4 daughters are like on their way to the wedding in the limo. When the limo driver's drinking, gets in a car accident, and he loses all 4 of his daughters in the limo crash. And I'm just like,
You feel more.
I feel for him, but then at the same time, like, bro, I still got my kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if something happens to my kids, I'm checking out. There's no reason for me to be here no more if I ain't got my kids.
Yeah, your children
You know,
have purpose. Your
no,
children
for sure.
have purpose.
I have no purpose after that.
Yeah.
What people really know that don't have kids, like, children truly do give you purpose. I know my daughter gave me purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. All my children have given me purpose. For real.
Woo. Yeah, it's kind of.
You put that down, it can't be lifted, bro.
Yeah, man, that's the truth.
Yeah, that's the truth. That was the truth, man. Thank you for sharing something
Yeah.
so powerful.
Still getting my life together, still learning, still earning.
Yeah.
How's your kids doing, man?
They're doing great, man. They're doing good. My daughter's she's in the gifted and talented class. She's got the creative gene. She's an artist like my mom. She's got something. Like when she draws, she's like about to be 11, but she's like, and I'm not. If it was trash, I have no problem telling my kids, look, I ain't raising no pussies, okay? Like, you know what I'm saying? We ain't doing that shit.
Nah, there ain't no yes man over here.
Yes, yeah, I'm gonna tell you if it's trash, okay? Like everybody want to clown LeVar Ball, but look at all 3 of his sons right now. One of them got a record deal, the other one's in the tour in the NBA, but he didn't play no shorts or losses with them. Hey, if it was trash, it was trash.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Right. So my kids, my daughter, she just started drawing, and it's to the point now, man, where she's drawing, and I already knew she naturally had it, but it's to the point now where I'm like, hey, you're about to get paid. Like this is what she can do some damage out here if she keeps practicing.
Yeah,
this is really
who you
good.
are.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she's found out my son wants to be an engineer. So
Hey, you can apply the same things that you doing like to hers as she grows up and develops more, like graduates high school
yes.
and goes like she wants to pursue art for a career. Like they got NFTs now.
Yes.
Like you can be having her make NFTs for companies and shit.
With a coin behind it.
Yeah, with a coin, like
Damn, that's a good idea.
because you already know how to offer exclusivity with your music, like with your talent. So it's just about applying that same exclusivity to her art, Because it's the same thing. Hers is just physical, yours is audio.
Yeah.
You know?
But that creative gene, and that's when I noticed that creativity is genetic.
Yeah.
totally.
No, for sure. For sure.
Oh,
I have a verse I did. I'm gonna spit it tonight, like a acapella, but it kind of talks about my boy Chief. That's the guy that's doing the Soulful of Noise events that I used to go to. And he's the one that, because I started just freestyling around them a lot, and then they would be like, "Bro, like you actually like flow, bro. Like you could do." I'm really shit he ever told me. He said, "If you got your head out your ass, you can do something with this." And I love when motherfuckers keep it 100 like that. You know, tell me what it is.
Give me something to think about.
Right. So I wrote a verse about that, about my wife. It goes, it's hard to describe the pain of losing someone you're close to. My homies tell me, get up, man, I know I'm supposed to. I call up one of my homies because I know he's resourceful. My nigga Chief, he's something come make noise, don't it soulful. He's sitting on the gift and I feel that you need this. Cooly T rocking the crowd, yeah, that thought was egregious. Till I got on my offensive and slid out my defense. Live bands, closer crowds, that made me a beast quick. And I kept going, tapped in my gift and I kept pulling. I made a date with fate, I was late, but I kept showing. Some people told me, stop, you won't pop, but I kept going. That hate was like some weight, that's okay, cause I kept towing. Used to be sick for free, nowadays I get paid to vomit. Cause shit that I'm spitting's flaming like Cajun inside your stomach. Yeah.
Hey, that was hot.
That was hot.
Thank you for the hot freestyle right there.
Yeah, a little acapella for y'all.
The
Okay, you know what I'm
acapella.
saying?
Yeah, nah, that's people gonna go nuts for that tonight.
It's a song called
you
Look
gonna,
at Me.
You gonna open up with that, or that's gonna be at the end?
What I'm gonna
of
do
your
is,
set?
I got this song called Color Girls that I'm gonna do first. And this guy, remember the Bronx Tale?
Yeah.
And he was like, I like this girl, but she's from the other side of town. And what did he tell her? He was like, fuck them kids, they gonna end up in jail. You do what you want to do and go get that sister. Like, Bronx Tale was a classic movie, y'all.
You know they got married in real life?
They did?
Yeah.
With the young dude
the
and
teenage
the-
ones.
And the sister?
Remember the one, because they grow up.
Yeah.
Remember he's a teenager.
Yeah.
They really got married in real life.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
That's
for real.
tight.
Like imitates art.
Yeah, totally.
Like
Yeah.
when it takes art, that's real.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they got
man.
married in real life.
So I'm gonna do because like I said, I'm warming up because it's the first time I've ever spoken about my wife passing. So I'm gonna start off with that one. It's more of a up-tempo beat. I'm trying to learn the science of keeping the mixture of the songs.
Yeah.
So I have that one. That's an upbeat one. And and then after that, I'm gonna talk to the crowd, let them know about my wife, my story, and then I'm going to just be talking and go into that verse a cappella.
That's nice.
So it's gonna throw them off guard. You know what I mean?
It's gonna move from that's what you're talking about already.
Right.
Moving from conversation
Exactly.
into rhyme,
Yeah.
and then you take them on that journey with you.
They won't even know it's rhyming to like the fourth bar. They're like, oh, he's actually spitting right now. You know?
Almost how like a soliloquy is.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Because like people kind of confuse like spoken word with like soliloquies, but like a soliloquy is like everything ain't got to rhyme all the time.
Yep.
And it's like the way it flows, it feels like someone's like rhyming to you.
Yep.
Feel me?
You got some rappers that actually do like that, and I can't name off the top of my head, but I've heard some rhyming like that where you're like, it doesn't rhyme, but it goes.
Well, the rhythm's there.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're looking for a certain rhythm to catch.
And it's really like the story you're telling, because like
Yes.
you're saying a story, and I think it's like when people, you know, if you figure out to use some fancy words in there, like if y'all watch the Boondocks, Huey does it a lot.
Yes.
Like when he reads his poetry, it's not really like his poetry rhyme. That's like a soliloquy.
Yeah, totally.
Feel me? That's what they consider a soliloquy, because like you still telling a story, and it's really like a sentence or a phrase to get you to think.
Yes.
You know?
Storytelling is storytelling has been our top tier thing that connects humans since the beginning of time. People, thousands of years ago, that's how you communicated your history, was through the storytelling.
Yeah, totally. There was no written word.
Yes.
Yeah.
They had certain people in the community that they grabbed as kids. They said, okay, this girl and this guy and this guy, y'all gonna tell the story of the tribe
Yep.
for the next generation.
And they were rock stars. They weren't allowed into battle or anything because
Yeah,
you
not
had to
sure.
preserve that message.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
not
saying?
sure.
Like if we die, somebody's got to tell what happened.
Yeah.
Remember the movie 300? The guy got his eye cut out, and he was like, "We're done. Go tell the story."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm talking to y'all. In fact, he brought the other troops.
Yeah, and if he wasn't able to deliver that, he wouldn't have motivated them to go.
No, because at first Greece didn't want to get involved.
Yep.
That's a good one. I didn't think about that. That's a good one.
Nah,
So how many songs you performing tonight?
Just 3. I'm gonna do 3 plus the acapella. The songs might go on a little bit because it's a live band. And
that's
so
dope.
it's a live band. So I hope to see you guys there tonight. It's a live band, and there's gonna be a shroom guy.
What time is it?
It starts at 9 p.m. Show goes on at 10.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's 2 separate rooms. We're gonna have like an art. If it's anything like the last time, it's gonna be an art gallery in one, where it's people that look like us, our culture in their painting. They'll have some food in there, 420 shroom guy, and then the music's gonna be in a whole nother one, and it's more of a. You can show up like that. You can take your shoes off, bring your blanket. You know what I'm saying? It's a black hippie vibe. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's trying to make it like a black man
We
Starbucks.
should go do our shrooms over there.
Yeah, maybe we will.
Yeah.
Should do our shoes over there.
Get some good music going, network, right? Come on, y'all.
Do 5 grams to split your house.
Yeah.
And jump out with Cooly T.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's gonna be a couple other artists there. I think I might be the only rapper. A lot of R&B, and I love it.
Fuck R&B and jazz, man.
Yeah.
Me and him is like, feel me.
But we partial to
We sluts for jazz.
Yeah, totally.
Well, you guys are well cultured. That's one thing I've noticed about you guys. You know what I'm saying? You can go chill with the homies, or you can go have a glass of wine in Napa Valley.
Oh,
Go hold
yeah.
your own that way. You know what I'm saying?
We love everybody, man.
You can. I like guys that can do that, and then even like the Joe Rogan guys, I can go smoke a stogie with the boys, or I can sit down with a physicist, and I know you're out of my league, but we can still have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Well, as long as you got questions, you can get it done.
Absolutely.
See, if I sit down with a physicist, I'm not going to pretend I know that shit.
Right.
I'm going to be like, so how does this work?
Yeah.
I'm going to let him teach me.
No,
How does that work?
Yep.
And then I might say, well, I had an idea about this, and then we can meet.
Shit, I'm gonna ask him if certain shit from TV like Discovery Channel be true. Like when you be watching the nigga scientists,
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse, like some of that shit that he be saying buffoonery, is that shit fugazi?
Yeah.
Feel me? Or is this some real physics? He be talking like laying down on niggas.
Or is he just a star now?
Yeah, he's just a nigga scientist.
Yeah, man.
I used to call him all the time. Every time I see him, I used to go, like, here go that nigga scientist again. Like,
Him and Terrence Howard keep getting into it.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
yeah, because Terrence Howard came and flipped the game upside down on his brain.
You heard his math. You can download his. I don't know if you still can, but you should be able to download a math book that Terrence Howard wrote.
Is that right?
Yeah, man.
I saw his Joe Rogan thing, and then I saw the Eric Weinstein physicist that went on, and they disagreed on a lot, but I'm glad that it was done with class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, what's funny? I always thought of Terrence Howard as just an actor.
Right.
And then he did a show saying, well, man, I was really going to college, man, to be like an engineer. He said, I ended up just kind of falling into acting and needed money, so he kept kind of rolling with that.
Yeah.
But he's like, I never gave up ideas I had for inventions. And then he said, for him, Hollywood was convoluted.
Yeah.
He was like,
Why you don't see him at a lot of parties? I think he do what Denzel do, that nigga. When it's 10 o'clock on
I
the
know.
dot, that nigga dip.
Smartest niggas in the game right there.
He said he's about to get freaky at 10:05. Nigga said 10:05, niggas gonna be in their speedos, naked, all type of shit, running around.
bring out the butt plugs.
Yeah. That nigga Denzel already at the valet, he get in the car with his wife and shit.
Yeah, he ready to go. Let's go.
Totally. Nah, he was having a good debate. Well, what he broke down is about the 0 and the 1.
Yes.
You've seen that one.
I saw that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so people don't understand. We gotta have room for evolution in our math.
That's why I like him
everything.
pushing the boundaries and questions.
We call it the T boundary, which is your thought boundaries.
Yeah.
You've been given so much to believe in that most
So many
people outside of the
constructs.
T boundary.
Yeah.
So you have people who come along and push you out of the T boundary.
Yes.
But now if you are married to the T boundary, then he tripping, he don't know this and that.
Yeah.
Have you tried it?
I came to that point in my life too. You're absolutely right. I got to the point where I was like, everything I've known, if I'm being honest, has been told to me. But what if I find out for myself?
Yeah.
I don't even know who I am.
Totally.
I'm a mixture of everybody else's opinions and critiques and information. And that will spark me to that's what a free mind is, when you can get to that point and then you can start finding out things for myself. I literally had to empty my cup of everything.
Yes, the real way of knowing is not knowing.
Yeah.
Because then it can be known.
The
It's
real
questions
information
that
come
create
in.
answers.
Yes.
And so most people want answers because the way they taught us in school, man, school really could have been fun. But normally you really just have somebody up there trying to get a paycheck.
Yep.
So he or she pretended to know. I remember I was a very inquisitive kid, so I asked my teachers, well, how does that work, sir? How does that work, ma'am? And because they didn't have the answer, they was like, nigga, go to the office.
Yep.
It's like, what did I do?
Start picking on you for
Yeah, that
class.
is-
And then the other kids, naturally, because you had the balls to ask a question, instead make fun of you. Ah, ha, 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 ha. He got in trouble.
He asked the dumbass question.
Yep.
But there are no dumb questions.
Yeah, nah,
And how do you get the answers? The answers don't just come of themselves.
Yep.
So
I think people more concerned with like looking dumb or not looking like they don't have the answer. So then that's how like they be expecting answers to come from answers.
if you're not willing to look stupid, how you gonna have any fun?
Yeah. What was it that guy, there was these religious guys and these atheist guys and agnostic guys having a conversation. And I don't know where I stand. I just say I don't know. But one thing I will say about, I don't trust all science, but I do like the fact that the real scientists, other than any other like a cult or let's say religious or anything, is that science doesn't grovel when it's proven wrong. It celebrates, because that means it's grown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That means to me.
Yeah.
There's a famous thing about this doctor and this physicist, and he was stuck on something for 20 years, and the books are written about it, and the student came and proved him wrong. And he thanked that student, because at that moment, science itself had grew. It was more than him and his ego.
Plus, he got liberated.
Yes.
Because he was stuck in a loop.
Oh, God.
He was stuck in a loop, and loops are suffering.
Yes.
If you get that last four
Suffer,
letters.
yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Suffering.
Yeah, so-
Spelling, casting spells, spelling.
So you fuck with that too?
Yeah,
And I said,
absolutely.
yeah.
I'm just now. I'm getting into it, but I've been listening to a lot of Cat Williams and doing a lot of research on my own about what he said about water having memory.
Oh, yeah.
And being, you know, that being like almost, it could be a biological entity. And then I saw the experience with scientists in Japan put the water as it was freezing. They spoke negatively to one and they spoke positively to one. And as it was freezing, the ones they spoke negative to, they came out looking so ugly and bad and distorted. But the ones they spoke positive to made the most beautiful snowflakes you had ever seen. They did the same thing with 2 jars of rice. They had 2 jars of rice. They put them in separate rooms. And that other jar of rice, they spoke nothing but negative words to that jar of rice. The other one was nothing but positivity and affirmation. That one molded. That one stayed good. I believe that. Yes, absolutely.
So just imagine, if you could do that to some food, what could you turn good that you was told was bad?
Right.
What if you spoke to that
Just
ham,
yourself.
what if you spoke to that ham sandwich for 20 minutes before you ate it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm being real.
I feel you.
So let's
that
say
type of energy can actually
Well,
amplify into
yes.
it.
Well, he and I've been talking about this for weeks. Like, I think you're addicted to food. I think you're addicted to air.
Yeah.
Like, so much has been told to us. And I know people can say, what do you mean addicted to air? Well, it's breatharians. Have you heard of breatharians?
Mm-hmm.
These are people who live strictly off of air. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you got people out here who like eating once or twice a year, and they eating like broth, you get what I'm saying? They might take herbs and minerals, but
Right.
no solid food.
Right.
So what's out here that we truly don't know about?
Well, have you guys been hearing about 3 days ago, about a week ago, those new whistleblowers about the UFOs and stuff that have come out? And all of this stuff that's been coming out has been second tier information. I know a guy.
Yeah.
I met a guy. I saw this paper. But for the first time ever, there's been 3 guys that were just on the Joe Rogan podcast a couple days ago. And then the other one was with this lead reporter, Jacques Landau, who's been the lead on it for about 30, 40 years. This guy, he's the first whistleblower to come forward, these 2 that have had direct contact. And they had a cosmic background clearance. I was in the military. That's the highest clearance you can get. That's above the president. Cosmic clearance. You can look it up.
Damn.
So he was a helicopter pilot, and he got put to this thing where they were doing crash retrievals. So he said that did you guys ever hear the Tic Tac incident that happened in 2004 that Commander Fravor came out with?
Tell us, please tell us.
So in 2004, off the coast of San Diego, this guy who was a Top Gun pilot. Those are the Navy SEALs of fucking pilots.
Okay.
And he was the squad commander. I was in the military. If they put you in charge of a jet that can destroy an entire city and is worth $500 million, and you are in charge of a fleet of them, you are a credible person. They don't give those responsibilities to just regular guys, okay?
Yeah.
Like, you got to go
It's
to
no
some
regular Joe Schmo.
Yeah, this is not a regular Joe. This is the top.
He's been vetted.
Yes, vetted and vetted and vetted. Okay, right? Because how to know that you don't have a psychological breakdown? Take off with a jet, head to LA.
Yeah.
How do we know that? Right.
Yeah.
Like, we're giving you a lot of fucking
A lot of power.
here, man. So in 2004, he was on an aircraft carrier and they're doing something. This is when the war was going on full steam, so they were doing missions or training. And so a couple of pilots came out in the Navy and the Pentagon came out and said this is actually true. They said it in the conference, it's true. He said that they told him, hey, we're on a training mission. So they're out flying around. He's got the guy in the back. They're doing their training. And then they tell him, hey, we got some stuff going on a couple miles off in the ocean. We have these things on our radar. It went from 80,000 feet to 10 feet above the ocean floor in less than a second. And then they told him, we have been seeing these things for the last 2 weeks. We just haven't said anything. Pilots have been seeing them. So he said, all right, let's go. So he said he's flying over and he sees it's called the Tic Tac UFO. He said it's white, looked like a Tic Tac, the size of a school bus, but he said it was sitting right above the ocean water. And he said that there was something very big underneath the water, because when something like a rock is right underneath the water but not perching out, you see like the waves that kind of like get rustled around
correct.
it. So he could see the whitewash around it. Now he's way up, it's a clear day, he can see it clear as day. All of the other pilots that came out, and these guys don't throw away, you could lose your security clearance and everything you've worked for and your reputation if you lie about shit like this under oath. You cannot do that at his level. So goes in front of Congress, and he was on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about it. He said, I went, and he said, I saw it. So he said, I'm gonna go check this thing out. So it's on here. He's in a jet, so he can't fly straight down. He's doing circular moves.
Like
Getting
get
closer,
lower.
getting lower. And he kept his other team up there so you can kind of look around. I'm gonna go down.
Yeah.
He said he's going down, and he said this thing turned. Like, what are you doing? And he said, mimicking his moves and coming up towards him. So he's like, I've never seen, there's no wings, there's no propulsion.
Yeah, how's
like,
it moving?
I can't lock in on it. Like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And he said,
So if he want to fire a missile, he can't.
he can't.
I got you.
So he says it's
Because it's
going,
making the same motion as him. We're like
he's going down, and it starts coming up towards him.
Yeah, so he can't bust on it or nothing.
can't do
Even if
anything.
want to.
His equipment's not picking it up.
Exactly. They can't.
Well,
They
because
can't
he's in
lock in.
motion. He's like, you got to
No. The jet can pick up motion.
There's
if
just
it's
no
another
lock
jet.
because there was no heat signature coming in.
Oh, I feel you.
That's what. Yeah.
And that's
There's nothing
impossible.
to generate.
Anything that generates movement or energy conducts
we
heat.
think it needs
This
heat.
microphone gives off heat right
Oh,
now. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
This thing gave off 0 and went from 80,000 feet to 10 feet above the water in less than a second. So he said when it got to the front of his plane where he could see it straight on, it just disappeared. But this is the crazy part. He said that about 3 seconds later, the guys on the aircraft carrier said that it re-popped up on their radar, but it was at their cap point. A cap point is a rendezvous point. Basically, if we're going to go out on a mission, if things go bad, this is where we rendezvous at this light pole. But that was not discussed over any airwaves, over anything.
That's something they only know.
They only know because they discussed it in person.
Yeah.
How did it know where their cap point is?
It means it's reading.
It's
minds.
reading minds and it's fucking with them. I even know where you're gonna go.
Yeah.
So the Navy they've all came out and said it's true. He gave a testimony to Congress. Now this last guy that came out says that he was picking up that Tic Tac. I brought that up. He said he saw what looked like a white egg on the ground, and he came in with the helicopter. They picked it up, hanging on a rope. And he just released the video like 2 days ago. You can see his
something coming out
helicopter.
of it.
No, he has the helicopter, and it's from his view. He's looking down.
So it's a ship that's shaped like a white egg.
It looks, bro. You can look it up right now. It looks like a white egg, and you see it with the straps on it, and you see him, and you see it land. But he said that what you said. This is where I'm getting into. He's talking about the government, and they just released this. CIA just released this. That remote viewing is real.
Oh yeah.
They use that, and that telepathy and being psychic is somewhat real. That CIA says it's real, and they say that they are connecting their consciousness to the aircraft. They merge as one.
Yeah,
They're
makes
merging
sense.
their consciousness with technology because there's no pivots or anything to drive. So he said that they have people now, and one guy has come forward, and they did it on camera yesterday. It just came out. He's worked for the CIA, and he says 100%. He was one of the guys. He said there's a state form of meditation that the CIA trains us to go to. Well, these aren't crash retrievals. We're summoning them.
Like they summoning
Their
aliens.
consciousness, they're able to summon them.
Yeah.
And they're leaving them for them. This is where fiber optics comes from and everything. And so these guys are coming out and saying that this is real. And he released the video. You can see it clear as fucking day. It looks like a white fucking egg. But he said that every time he deals with it, it makes him feel emotional. They tap into your emotions. It's like, and he said the only people that can contact, the CIA said the people that can do this the most are homosexual men and children.
What?
Left-handed homosexual men and children. I don't understand the left-handed thing, but I can get the children because they say that they're a loving entity. And so children have more of a pure, you see what I'm saying?
Because
So
children ain't got no crust on them. What I would call, I call crust like all the trauma shit that you go through in life.
Yes.
To build up on you. It's almost like the same thing in Star Wars. Like they ain't gonna let no child like over the age of 3 become a Jedi because you didn't already seen too much shit.
yes.
Like Anakin Skywalker that become Darth Vader, he wasn't supposed to become a Jedi.
Until he got his heart broke.
I mean, because he was a slave. He grew up a
Yes,
slave.
yes.
Feel me? So he already seen some real life shit. He probably didn't see niggas get beat,
That's true.
ripped
Yep.
apart. They didn't show that in Star Wars, but imagine the type of life that you would see
That's
as a
real.
slave
That's
and you 9
real.
years old and you come
Yes.
get picked up by Qui-Gon Jinn. Feel me? Yoda was like, he was really trying. This nigga's damaged goods.
And I remember that he went back and killed all them people too. Because they killed his mom or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So he was,
That's something the Jedi wouldn't do.
The Prime Minister of Canada, the first of this year, talks about alien visitation.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that one?
Yes.
Yeah, the Prime Minister of Canada. It was about maybe 2-3 weeks ago on TikTok. He literally announced, "Look, we have alien contact now."
Yes.
But see, Eisenhower signed a bunch of paperwork for that.
Yeah, we've been having alien contact with the Palladians, the
yeah.
Greys.
We have 50,000-year-old, if you look at
Especially
Australia
this-
and China, carvings on caves of a look just like aliens with the big eyes and all that. This is 150,000 years ago. And they find them all over the world. I think that's where a lot of religious things come from. I'm not saying they're wrong. But if you have never been introduced to electricity or just not even a horse and buggy, and you've never seen a wheel or anything before, and you see this disc come down, or
In the
this level
Bible,
thing.
when it talks about the Israelites being taken through the wilderness for 40 years and they followed the pillar of fire, it was a rocket ship.
Right. What about Ezekiel when they talk about the wheel within a wheel,
Yeah,
the gears turning
yeah.
on? Yeah.
So flying saucers, you wouldn't have a word to say flying saucer
Right.
at that time.
And if it's what the Romans used to have, the Pope has released documents that the ancient Romans, when they used to have battles, their shields were circular. So they called them like eclipse or eclipti. So they used to say, you can look this up yourself. They say that they would have battles and they would see what they will call ecliptis because they were circular and they were following them, just like watching them fight. That'd be some shit. They're just watching them fight.
Well, part of that is too, is that when you have these mass wars, what happens is when all that blood is spilled, there's certain deities or entities or whatever you want to call them that absorb that energy.
Yeah.
So in some Hindu texts, they talk about battlefield, maybe 10,000 men's blood was spilled that day on the battlefield. You know, they were cleaved.
Right.
And it talks about as the nighttime comes in, you can see the aura of the blood. See, there's a life force and other things in the blood. Everything in this dimension is represented physically, but it really has if you will, a divine or a light component to it.
Yeah, I think we don't even understand truly what life is.
No.
Have y'all heard of Lacerda? Basically, like, man, y'all can look it up on YouTube. It's like this audio. Supposed to be this dude in the year 2000. He interviewed actually lizard person, like a lizard woman, a reptilian.
Oh, you interviewed a reptilian?
Yeah.
A guy
And
came
like,
out just yesterday and
like
said reptilians are real.
Like the audio,
Oh, no,
the
definitely.
audio, he puts the audio in like a Siri voice.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that she's talking about, like the questions that he asked her and like the answers that she gives him is just like, couldn't know like shit come up with this. And this video, I mean, this audio been out way before AI was out. So like I know this shit wasn't made by AI voice filmy thing like ChatGPT. Like this shit been out since like 2011. At least from my knowledge, like when I first found it on YouTube, it was around 2011.
I actually seen a mothership one time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But everyone doesn't get to see these things, and I wasn't on anything. I was at my sister's house picking up some mail, and it was like that. I guess they call it dusk.
Yeah.
The sun hasn't gone down. The sky kind of looks orange purplish.
Yeah, most beautiful part of the day,
Yeah,
pretty much.
so you at that right weird moment before it goes dark, but it's still a little bit of light. And I remember looking up because I kept seeing this thing. You know how the Predator does that shimmer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that so that he blends
thing.
in. It's like some type of light refraction that he does.
Right.
Yeah.
Bends the light off it,
Correct.
basically. Yeah.
And I saw the shimmer coming in the distance, and I'm on 27th and Normandy, and I'm looking westward, and I see this shimmer, but there's clouds and stuff, and I was like, am I tripping? And then literally, I'm not lying, man, this thing passed overhead. It took about 2 minutes to pass. This thing was like 3-4 football fields long.
Was it silent? It was probably.
It's completely
That's
silent
wild.
with many little helicopters accompanying. Like literally, because the ship had openings inside of it, like holes. So it was so big, it was literally 2-3 football fields long, and at least a football field wide.
Yeah, it looked like a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, it made no
Star
sound,
Wars.
and I was just literally
Every
like,
time you tell that story, I think of the Star Destroyers from Star Wars.
and literally
Big
this tiny
pyramid
little,
looking.
well, it was
shit.
tiny little helicopters flying up in the little whatever the little dugouts were, the holes.
Yeah.
They were little tiny black helicopters that was like, it was like 4 in this little opening. Then as it passed, it was 4 in this little opening. You could see their propellers, but you couldn't see anything. And it was soundless, man. And I was like, wow, we have no clue.
I know, right?
What's going on the planet.
You ever heard of the Phoenix Lights?
Uh-huh.
There's a documentary called "I Know What I Saw," and I remember being a kid when this happened in Phoenix, Arizona, in the '90s. A mile-wide boomerang-shaped spacecraft flew right over the city of Phoenix. Tens of thousands of people have saw it. It's a documentary called I Know What I Saw. They interviewed the people. A guy named James Fox. They interviewed all the people, and it was they say it was huge, no sound, and they could throw a rock up at it. They interviewed thousands of people. So the city, I remember it was on the news and everything as a kid, and the governor came out the next day. It's a news conference. And he said, yeah, we know the culprit, and they brought out a guy in an alien Martian costume and made fun of it. And he was like, oh, it was just flares. People were very upset about that because it was like, I know what the fuck I saw, right?
This was no flares.
Last year, James Fox, on that documentary, that same documentary, interviewed that governor, and that governor admitted that he lied, and him and his wife saw it themselves. And he said it was otherworldly. He lied. He said, I lied.
Well, he had to. He had to. You know, because we've been in contact with things for a long time.
Yeah, man.
Some of them are interdimensional.
That's what they're saying. Scientists are saying that.
And then some of them come up through the water, because the real way to get off of planet Earth is through the ocean.
Yeah.
There ain't no going through the
Oh,
heavens.
no.
And if you can distort gravity, the ocean pressure is nothing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
To
not-
get past that ocean pressure is risky.
It's like us being in this room right now to them.
No, for sure.
Oh.
If they got ships that can go like Mach, the speed of Mach 1, and then it can make a right angle turn, and nobody instantly, and nobody splattered inside the ship.
Gelatize you.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody splattered inside the ship. Oh, nigga, pressure getting through the ocean and back into space ain't nothing.
I read a book once called The Text, man, and it was probably one of the deepest books I've ever read.
Yeah.
The text broke down that this is an N3 rated prison.
I think about that sometimes too. Man.
And this dimension is really called 7/4. And so what happens is you got 7 dimensions above this. And the whole reason this is a dome is because this is the 0. And then below there's 4 more dimensions, because you start going down into 2 dimensions and 1 dimension. And in between then is like an ethereal realm. You're getting where you have entities that they low level entities. That's why I tell people don't mess with Ouija boards, because your high level entities communicate different. Your low level entities that communicate through Ouija boards and things of that nature, So,
Right.
So the book was really deep though, because the guy, and it's a good read, because it's only about 100, maybe 98 pages. And the guy breaks down. He's like, man, this is a prison clinic. He said, just pay attention to how it's run. And he breaks down that there's certain, if you will, entities or deities that feed off of our suffering. Which is why we have so much suffering on the planet all the time.
I can see that.
So that's why I mentioned the soldiers being clean.
That's why Bob Lazar, that worked at Area 51, I don't know if you guys heard of him.
I've heard about this.
He's the one that, the original whistleblower. He worked on the craft, and he said that he doesn't know what it means, but it kind of goes to what you say. He said that when he was briefed, he said that they call us containers. Like that's what they look at, like containers of like what? You know what I mean?
Well,
like
you
souls or whatever.
you really God. Yeah. That's what we've discovered in all these mushroom diets. You really God.
Yeah.
So what happens is you've been given information, as you said earlier, but you haven't been given proper information.
Right.
So what happens is when you die, they recycle you back here because they can't create energy of their own.
Yeah.
So therefore, they recycle you back here because you already got like a soul, the real spark of God in you.
Right.
Yeah.
They feed off of that, and they feed off of it through something called time. Because outside this dimension ain't no time. Because time is really, if you look at the definition of time, it says time is the measurement of an object's movement through space.
Yes, that's why if you go out of space and come back, you might be the same, but everybody else would be like 50 years old.
Yeah.
Like Interstellar, basically.
Totally.
Yeah, it's like Interstellar.
So
Great
time
movie to
doesn't
watch on
exist.
Shrooms.
Time is not a constant construct everywhere. It's just once you move into space. In fact, really, when people think about becoming, let's say, being birthed, you actually are this small, like your soul. It's just a little ball of light. When you come up into these human bodies, you actually expand. When you die, and if you go back to where you're really supposed to go to, you're gonna go into the quantum realm,
Right.
where things are so small. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because the quantum, it makes more sense for everything to get small. Why would things keep getting larger?
Right.
So when you come into these bodies, you move out of the quantum realm. which is why it might be harder for people to manifest and things of that nature, because the real manifestation comes from these smaller realms where more can happen. So when we think about gods, we don't think about gods and deities being inside of us on a quantum level.
Right.
We've been taught to pray out somewhere into the heavens.
That's what I tell people. Don't look up, look in.
No, totally. So everything is already inside of you. So like in African, I don't want spiritual practices. I don't want to say religious, but African spiritual practices, they didn't worship the sun. They was in contact with the sun. They didn't worship the ancestors. They was in contact with the ancestors. They didn't pray to Isis and Ra and Osiris and Heru. They was in contact with these beings because these beings are already inside of you. So there's other, if you will, entities or deities, whatever you want to call it,
right.
Angels,
right?
That they can only occupy this dimension. Because outside of this dimension, God is always creating, and God creates strictly in love.
Right.
So if you don't move in cooperation with that, you can't be in that dimension with God.
Right.
There can't be no altered thoughts. There can't be no opposition. And it's not the point of God, like, you got to get out of here. You actually kick yourself out.
Right.
That's why the Bible talks about, and down the great dragon was hurled and all of that. But really, the demons got rid of themselves.
Yeah.
They failed just because they couldn't hold the same vibration no more. They wanted free will. Right. And angels aren't allowed free will.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Now, you can substitute angels with aliens or anything else you want to substitute it with. So these beings have to rely on technology, though they still might be immortal in the sense of what we think of being immortal, but they no longer have the power of God. You cannot use these real powers of creation from God, and you got free will.
That's why they want to recycle you back here with reincarnation to feed on your godly
So
energy.
when God incarnates as you, me, or anyone else, that's real God. They failed from this.
Do you think that's a part of deja vu? I've always wondered about that because I had deja vu a couple of days ago, and I've always thought about it, and I always told myself next time that happens, be in the moment. And I swear, man, in that time, you can't tell me I haven't done it before. It's not supposed to be.
Well, remember, time's not real because they teach you timelines.
Well, quantum physics just kind of proved what you're saying about what is it, the split theory, to where, like, if an atom's turning a certain way, a million light years away from a point, if it stops to turn the other direction, the other one does as two no contact. So there really is there's no such thing as distance, or future or past. It's just all one point.
It's always an eternal now. Right. And so in this particular dimension, in order to give you an experience, because God created this so God could experience his creation, it breaks itself off as all of us, the plants, the trees, the people, everything.
And the reptilians.
They just science just said that all plants are consciousness. And it's all everything consciousness. All of it.
It's
totally
everything is consciousness.
Yes.
It's a lie.
So this is how we started shrooming so much. Because the more we shroom, the more we let go of all these human elements in our minds. And you started thinking, you don't even start thinking the shit you used to think no more.
It's like you unplug for a little bit, right?
Totally.
It's like,
totally, because the gang of stuff that you mentioned earlier, and it was so great that you mentioned it, you've been given a lot of things you believe in.
Yeah.
But you haven't proven them.
Right.
So we decided, well, what's the real math? What really is happening down
You gotta become a scientist out here and test shit for yourself.
Well, most of the things that I got taught, I wasn't at an age where I had developed logic and reason to think my way through these things. So I had to dump everything and approach everything with a logical lens. But at the same time, I don't want to say logical, but at the same time, there's so many other things that I'm curious.
Well, you're supposed to, because, okay, one thing we learned shrooming, the mushroom hole that keeps going deeper and deeper, bro. You're talking about infinity, add infinity, 9 to the 9 to the 9th power.
There's no bottom to this shit.
There's no bottom to this shit, bro. And so because you're God, you never needed a bottom. Right. So if you wanted to keep it reincarnated here, that's fine. But most people are reincarnated here
under duress.
Because there's other beings that need your energy. Because they don't want to serve God no more, but they can't generate that God energy.
Is that why they're saying that Bob Lazar said that we're containers? And he says that some of them for the misery, like you said, but he said other ones. Bob Lazar said that the government told him religion, somewhat of religion, or somewhat of it was given to us by them because they don't want us to preserve they don't want us to ruin. It's like a meal. I want you to preserve this meal. I don't want you to spoil it.
Totally.
So we need to give you something to follow so you just don't spoil and just start killing each other.
Yeah,
Everything like
ask
that.
yourself this. How is it just within a city like Los Angeles, not LA County, just LA City, Florence and Prairie, where the cemetery is? How is it millions of people have died, but the cemetery hasn't had to allocate or take on more land around?
Right.
Where the bodies gone?
Right.
Yeah.
Where the bodies gone? It's asking. You normally would have to keep acquiring. You got to buy the
got the
house.
cemetery over there in Inglewood.
That's a
You got
good
the
point. We
cemetery
should
over
have
there.
acres and acres and everybody that dies
Right.
every day. That's
Get
a
it?
great point.
Where they're going.
Forest Lawn Mortuary ain't built nothing in 30 years. Ain't moved out and expanded.
But they keep taking in people.
Yeah.
And there's been like billions of people come through just this area over the last few hundred years.
Right.
Why haven't they had to expand and do eminent domain? We need
Midnight
the
Deep
houses
Train.
over here. We need the houses over here to expand. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, I mean, we believe this is a nigga factory. At least for right now. It wasn't always a nigga factory.
Yeah.
But for right now, it's a nigga factory. You can, so they taking your melanin through your organs.
Yeah, as long as people keep on having babies on purpose, like, with no purpose. Motherfuckers just having a baby. I was in the fleet of lust in the moment.
They just
And
said
then
that.
the baby coming out of it, yeah, nigga, that's a nigga factory right there.
Yeah.
They just said that
He's a grade A nigga factory.
all vaccines. There's an interview with Tucker Carlson a couple of days ago. This guy, Tucker put him under pressure. He said, "Did you know that all vaccines have parts of babies in them?"
Mhm.
And he was like, "Is that right?" He was like, "Yeah, but you need to understand though, like when they're chopping these things down with these viruses, they can't be dead cells. They have to be alive." So Tucker said, "Well, where the fuck are you getting the babies from?
Yeah.
Where are you getting babies from?"
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then you just said they needed to be alive, and then you can see him. What happened? Tucker's like, no, bro. You telling me they need live, living
Babies.
cells?
Yeah.
So, and then you wonder why, for the vaccines, and then you wonder why. Look, I'm not against. Look, that's a complicated subject to me, abortion. I'm gonna stay out of it, but it kind of does make sense if that's the case. Why that keeps being the main issue above infrastructure, above everything else, and it's to push that if they're in cahoots financially.
Well, what you have happening is
That'll be the pharmaceutical industry, basically.
Yeah.
there's so many genetic
billion-dollar
experiments
industry,
going
yes.
on the planet. It's a lot of things happening here.
I think the cartel is in cahoots with the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh yeah, man.
They have
yeah.
to be, man.
Oh, yeah.
They have to.
Man, it's like 3-4 families that run all of this.
I believe The
Yes.
Sopranos showed us that.
Yeah.
I believe that was a subliminal message in
Right.
The Sopranos TV series that the mafia got their hands in everything.
They just said the mafia
Everything.
killed Kennedy because
Yeah.
I just found out the mafia helped get Kennedy in office, and then he went after
he
him.
shut the casinos down in Cuba.
Yeah, because the deal was he wasn't going to do that
Yeah, he
once they
wasn't
got
gonna.
him in office, and
But
he did.
Cuba was what do you call it? Communist. So naturally, to Americans, remember we dealing with John Wayne, white Americans at this time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
White Americans,
the
have
good old
changed now.
boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
White Americans have changed now, so they listen to hip hop and all kinds
Right.
of shit. Back then, everything was really the hard divide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he couldn't appear to support a communist country after taking all this money and votes and everything,
Mhm.
even though he was helped by the mafia to put this together.
Yep.
So he pulls out, not understanding. His father probably understood because his father had been a gangster.
Mhm.
But John hadn't been a gangster. He had been a kid, been raised in money. So
Yeah.
you've been raised in the mentality of power, but you ain't never got your hands dirty.
Right.
You ain't never popped nobody eyeball to get the check.
You don't know what
Yeah.
you got to get the power. You were given the
Talking
power.
about
You got it another way.
Yeah, his father got it the other way.
He had to take it.
Yeah,
And all of
right.
and was able to go legit, but his son didn't have to do none of that shit. So if you ain't really had to put in real work, you might be quicker to be like, I'm this, I'm that, and they're gonna just listen, not knowing like, bro, you don't give a fuck about that. They gonna catch you in a dark alley, bro.
And that back then, back then the mafia, like people don't understand how deep they're probably still deep, but people don't know back then that the mafia was running a lot of shit.
But that's why the CIA and the FBI in the 80s went in and attacked them.
Yes.
So that you still have mafia, don't get me wrong, but they turned into corporations.
And then Giuliani did that RICO case, and that was
Yeah.
that-
So
the
your
first
John
RICO.
Gotti's, that outward mafia, that all had to disappear. The mafia's still there. They
Yeah.
part of one of the. There's an Italian family, which is like the Medici's and them, that's connected with the church and the Jesuits, and then there's these Kaiser families, which are part of like the Jews. So you have these like 3 to 4 families that really just run everything out of like European descent, even though some of them descend from Moors too. See, it's really deep, man.
I found out that all the presidents except one are all related.
Yeah.
And they all go back to one king.
Yeah.
That was wild. Even Trump, even Obama. They're all, like, they're literally blood related.
Bro, this is all orchestrated.
Yeah.
So when they get on the news and you look at all this stuff, man, you looking at the circus never stops. It just changes props.
And if we know it, if a 12-year-old found it out, because I think it was like 20 years ago, like a 12-year-old, you can look it up if you want. She did a project and she found out, I think it was except for one, maybe two, but every single president has a blood legacy that goes back to a king. And it makes sense because it's all the game being played. Because I just saw Obama calling Trump Hitler, and then at J.F. Carter's funeral, he's sitting right next to him, cracking jokes, laughing with him. And I'm like, oh, this is all a boxing show. I hate this guy. And after the fight, he should be cool. We got y'all.
It's Tyson and Jake Paul.
Yeah.
It's Tyson and Jake Paul.
All day.
All day. Because I'm like, if you really think a guy's Hitler, you wouldn't sit next to him in national television and be cracking jokes with.
Nah.
Unless you, what's up, cuzzo?
Yeah, talk.
Yeah. That was a good show.
We talked about this 2 years ago. Look at Hampton.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the 5%ers, I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I'm familiar, but I don't know too many, but I've heard
The
about it.
5%ers, I think, they gave the best math.
Wu-Tang was 5%. That's right.
So they let you know that 85% of the people are dumb, deaf, and blind. That's for all cultures.
Don't they? What's today's mathematics, right? That's what
So what they help you to understand is that 10% runs the world. That's the Illuminati, the police, the military, the doctors, the pharmaceutical companies.
Yes.
And then 5% of us can see. That's the math that they get. 5% of us can actually see what's going on. And so you got to move with that math. You got to see what they've done is get people ready for these mass awakenings. That's not what happens. People don't understand. God can't really be affected by it. So they we need to change the world. How? And then certain people who were created here can only come here. So what's most important is to find out if you're originally from planet Earth.
Yeah.
Because if you're not originally from here, then the Gnostics would tell you you want to get the fuck out of here. That should be your main goal. Outside of all the other shit that we doing and having fun with, you want to escape this prison planet. And so by escaping the prison planet, you get up out of here. You get what I'm saying? But most people, because of the education they've been given, they believe they're from here. Especially if you like, if you will, not an NPC. Remember, there's a lot of genetic experiments that's gone on.
Right.
So those who are only created here can only come back here. And then some of them don't survive and reincarnate. They literally do what we call death. But for those who are original children of God, there is no death. They keep reincarnating. In other words, you the batteries to keep this shit going.
You were right about the, you were so on point about the dimensional thing because I don't know if you saw, was it 3 weeks ago? Google has a quantum chip, the first quantum chip. And they used it for the first time. And they said that they gave it a problem that if you took all of the supercomputers in the world, and space is still, all of the universe, the observable universe is still made of solid matter. Okay? So they're saying that, I don't want to chop it up because I'm not a scientist, but if you took all the observable universe, all the matter, the observable universe, all the planets, stars, space in between, and put all of that into one computer, it would still take about 500 billion years to do this problem. This quantum chip did it in 2 seconds. So they're saying that is proof that it reached out of this dimension and pulled into infinity others to gather that information.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of the way it's like scientists legitimately sound like that just proved that there's other dimensions.
Well, because the limits of this dimension are the speed of light.
So the fire just looked interesting.
That's why nothing goes past the speed of light here.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you can create a computer that can process quicker than the speed of light, you can get a body.
Yeah.
You can figure out some other type of computation. Remember, we believe, I should say we know.
Think about it too. It's only the speed of light bending through water. And space is water.
Yeah.
So it's like it's always the speed of light moving through liquid.
Right.
You know, like so it's the speed of light is probably actually faster than what we think the speed of light is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just what we computed because.
But that's what we've been given too.
Yeah, I mean we're living in water.
Good
though.
point.
We've been given that the speed of light is X amount of
Yeah,
whatever.
because that's what we measuring that from being in water.
Yeah, no. There's always water around.
If it's even measured, like, because we don't, like, once again, a lot of stuff is told to us. We ain't asked the questions like, how did you measure this speed of light?
Right. Where's that machine at?
Yeah, where's the machine doing that? Because our eyes can't measure that shit.
Yeah.
Show me the little robot that's doing it.
Did you guys see Lord Jamar on that Flat Earth thing podcast?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh my gosh, bro!
We gotta look that up.
You know Godfrey, the comedian? He has a podcast.
Yeah.
So Lord Jamar's been going around saying the Earth is flat and all this kind of stuff. So he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna get this guy, and he's a white guy, but I've watched this guy before, and this white dude doesn't care who he's talking to. If you're stupid, hey, you're stupid.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about this, and this is a guy that actually does. He breaks it down to the T. So we had him on there, and Lord Jamar was rolling up. And he was like, man, fuck this nigga, the one that was coming on. That white boy heard that shit. So he was like, gloves off, right off the top. Yeah. So he comes in and he embarrassed the fuck out of Lord. It was bad. Like Lord Jamar told Godfrey, don't show that. And Godfrey was like, you don't fucking tell me what to do on my fucking podcast, bro. Like, fuck that. So now you're talking about suing. It's getting ugly with them right now. But Lord Jamar, it was bad, bro, because he started like, instead of having a conversation, he was like, you bitch ass. And it was just like, bro, you can't talk to a scientist like that, bro. Like, he gonna eat your ass up, bro. So he was just
Well, we should have had his math together. Yeah. I don't believe that the argument of flat Earth, round Earth matters.
His argument was, well, how does water stick to the side of a planet? And so, and then like, how does a stick cannot just fall off? And he was like, what about east and west? And I even knew this. I could have told him this. You got to understand, east, west, north, and south don't really exist.
Nah.
We make that construct of, if you were in outer space,
thank you so much. I appreciate
It's everywhere.
Right, so what are you talking about?
South
You know what I mean?
is everywhere. West is everywhere.
If you go in space, you can't be like, head west.
Nah.
Where's west?
Nah. You can't.
Yeah, I think
the issue is
Because I
that,
already in charge,
that
right?
no one really has the full math on any of this.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the real
You
truth.
get what I'm saying? So you can find just as many people who have good flat Earth points as just as many people who have that you get on the ball. Now, what I can't believe is that you move at 1,000 miles per hour and not spin off. You got to duplicate that shit. So
And the fact that like we not traveling through space because everything's always in the same place. Stars always in the same place. So how the fuck is
they follow me too?
Yeah. So how the fuck is we?
So there's a lot of stuff that's fixed.
And there's nothing wrong with that, with saying, I know it's against what the status quo says, but can you show me?
That's wrong with it.
Can you show me?
Can you show me? So.
And that's why I be feeling all about like satellites and shit. Like I don't think satellites exist.
You don't
Like,
think so?
Well, what about the rocket test? There's been several people who
Yeah,
shot rockets
so
that
like-
they hit something in the air and fell down.
Yeah, so it's like
So-
if it is some shit, y'all getting a satellite inside on the outside of Earth or whatever, where there's flat around. You say y'all got some satellites out there traveling to different parts of the universe. Nigga, show me how you got it out there.
Well, there's a guy named
And
Constantine.
they ain't gonna want to show you because they got it out. If they did get it out there, it's through the ocean.
Well, there was a guy named Constantine, like in the late 1800s, who decided to change all this paradigm
Constantine, yeah, he did a lot didn't he do a lot to the Bible too?
into the maps and
everything, right.
Because he decided, look, if I centralize your consciousness through the information you read here on this planet, then there's no reason for you to be like, is there other places to go?
Yeah, with all that alien talk and conspiracies, man, is there any more final shout outs you want to give? Cooly
Hey,
T?
well, first and foremost, I want to shout out y'all. I appreciate y'all for
Yeah.
having me.
I appreciate
Everybody
you coming
back
through,
here.
man. This is long overdue, man.
Yeah,
Happy to
man.
have you,
Long overdue.
You an authentic supporter, man, because that's how we got in contact.
Absolutely,
IG.
bro. Yeah,
You
man.
just randomly finding our feature page like on your own. So like
Yeah.
when we first met, I was like, oh man, this is authentic. I gotta have this brother on here, like,
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
not for sure, man.
And shout out to I talked to the gentleman right here, and he told me the whole process of everything going up here, and I want to give you guys a shout out for doing that and giving back to the
Systems is
community.
a beast.
Yeah, man,
We love
that's
y'all.
really
We love
major.
y'all whole systems.
Thank you, guys. I hope you guys come to the show tonight. But I want to shout out my kids, Love and Royal. Daddy loves you. I love y'all. Y'all gonna watch this 30 years from now. But like, Daddy was fly as hell. Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to the fam. Shout out to Xavier, Cheese, Boog. Shout out to the family reunion. Shout out to my family. And shout out to everybody watching this. I appreciate you guys.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And remember, you saw it.
You saw my first unfeatured, Mike L. Peace and love, y'all. Peace and
Check
love.
out this motherfucker.
All right.
Let's go. I'm blowing chronic smoke in the wind.
Going places you never been, accumulating dividends. Mostly Benjamins. Bought a Ferrari just to shit on the Benz. Looking fresh and clean, hottest nigga on the scene. Don't any of you whack MCs go as hard as me, getting green.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention and your subscriptions. If you have a business or a service you would like to promote, or if you don't have one and you just want to come on the show and talk and be a guest on Featured, please DM us at featured_guests on Instagram. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing you. Peace and love.